The Inca Empire ruled over Peru from the 13th century to the mid-15th century during the time the Spanish conquistadors invaded South America. The Inca Empire covered the northeastern part of South America with vast roads and various ways to connect with people all over their empire. The Inca territory covered most of the Andes mountain range, which they conquered by using terraces to farm and settled in high-altitude places such as Machu Picchu, using that as either a fort or a place for high-status individuals to visit. The Inca Empire worshipped many different gods and honored them. To honor their gods, they would make different offerings and, in some cases, human sacrifice. The Inca practiced a ceremony called Capacocha. This was a sacrifice to the god Inti to protect the Inca people and to watch over them. This ceremony consisted of finding the most pure people and placing them on top of the highest peaks to watch over their people and to be closer to the gods. These offerings were often children. La Donacella, Lightning Girl, and El Niño were the three children found on top of the LLullaillaco volcano in the Andes mountain range. These children were most likely offered by their families to the emperor and were taken to Cusco, the capital of the Incan Empire. They were to learn about their gods and either prepare them for marriage to a high-status individual or prepare them for sacrifice. They were fed alcohol made from corn called chicha and a diet filled with meat before their death. To deal with the high altitude that the children would be in, they were given coca leaves to help with the altitude sickness. This is still used today as a remedy. To ease the transition of life for the children, the alcohol consumption was increased leading up to their trip up to the mountain. This was evident in La Donacella's hair. Once they made their ascent to the top of the LLullaillaco volcano, the children were highly sedated and were placed in their stone tombs. El Niño had died on the ascent up and was tightly bound with ropes before being placed in his tomb. Both the Lightning Girl and La Donacella were wrapped with a blanket covering their heads and were smothered due to the lack of oxygen and the amount of alcohol in their system. In the dry desert air that the volcano was located in, as well as the cold from the high altitude, helped preserve these children for over 500 years before they were rediscovered by Johann Reinhardt in 1999. El Niño was roughly around 4 or 5 years of age, Lightning Girl was around 6 years of age, and La Donacella was roughly 13 to 15 years of age at the time of their deaths. Being that their tombs were not disturbed for over 500 years, their bodies, as well as their grave goods, are remarkably intact and in situ. Feather headdresses sat on top of La Donacella's head, as well as the metal figurines buried with her. Textiles, ceremonial pottery, and small llama figurines were found buried with all three of the children. While looking at this picture, you can see La Donacella is on the left, El Niño is in the middle, and Lightning Girl is on the right. La Donacella is one of the most preserved mummies in the world. The El Niño boy had blood in his spit, and that is why they presumed he had passed before he reached the summit. And the Lightning Girl was struck with lightning after her death, which burned a cavity into her chest and burned her face, but she still remains remarkably intact. Each of these children is part of the Inca Empire, and it is important to understand and work with the remaining Inca people to preserve their history and not to overstep the boundaries with the indigenous people of South America. These children let us look into their world by viewing them as they were 500 years ago. If you wish to learn more about the LLullaillaco Mummies, please visit the Museum of High Altitude Archaeology.